Hello there everyone, it's Becky here from Ivy's Corner and I am back to do some mini monotangling narrated little lessons for you. Today's lesson, or today's little tangle that I'm going to draw for you on this small self-cut 2" by 2" square tile is a newish kind of tanglation that was created for project or within project pack number 26, which was released this year, 2025. And it's a kind of a combination of two different tangles that we already know and love from Zentangle HQ, and they've just kind of conflated them to create this little tanglation of two very popular tangles. And so the tangle that I'm going to draw for you today is called Scenabaugh, which is basically a kind of conflation of Scena and Hollibaugh. So this was released this year, as I said, in or first drawn kind of by Zentangle in project pack number 26 this year, and it was drawn by Maria. And so I thought I would just go through a little video for those of you who haven't seen that one from project pack 26 to show you how to draw it. So Scenabaugh is, as I said, a kind of combination of two different tangles, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do some little dots and a border here so that I can set up the space in which I'm going to tangle. So I'm going to start off doing my little dots and a border, but obviously you can draw this particular tangle within any space that you have available on your tile. I'm going to just give us this kind of little section in which to place the tangle. So drawing these little borders there. I'm going to pick up my pen, and as the name sort of suggests, Scenabaugh is a kind of a combination of both Scena and Hollibaugh. So with Hollibaugh we draw behind other tangles that we've placed on the tile, and with Scena we're kind of creating this texture that kind of responds to previous aura lines that have been drawn. So to begin with this tangle, I'm going to draw a line simply from one side of my my border to the other, and I'm going to put a little curve on that line like so. Now if I was going to be drawing a Hollibaugh, I would then aura this line to create a band that was travelling from one side to another. I would turn my tile and begin to draw more of the same sort of things underneath, but stopping and lifting my pen to draw behind what I've placed on the tile already. So with Scenabaugh, what we're going to do is we're going to, with our initial line, we're just going to add a little bit of weight as we would do with Scena. So we're going to just add a little touch of ink to the ends of this line that I've placed down. Kind of helps it attach and stick to the side where it begins. And now I'm going to aura this line that has this weight on it. So I'm going to draw a nice fine aura alongside there, and then I'm going to add my weight to that new line, and then just repeat this process a couple more times. So I'm going to aura this line and then add the weight, and you can do this just as many times as you want to for your Scenabaugh. I'm going to maybe turn my tile and do one more on the other side here. So I'm going to aura this line all the way along, and then just pop a little bit of weight on the end there. And so that is my first kind of Scenabaugh band, if you will. And now I'm going to turn my tile and I'm going to repeat this process, but I'm going to lift my pen when my line arrives at this previously drawn line. So much the same as we would do with Hollibaugh, I'm going to draw my first line, stop when I get to this point, pick my pen up and imagine it's drawing behind, place it down, and then travel to the other end of the space that I'm working in. I'm going to add some weight to either side or either end of this line, and now I'm going to aura this line, stopping at my Scenabaugh, and lifting my pen, and then continuing to aura to here, and then going back in with my line weighting. And so you can see how this tangle is very similar in construction to Hollibaugh and very similar also to Scena it's kind of taking two key elements of both of those tangles and combining them together. And I shall do one more. So I'm going to aura my line to the end, and then add the weight. And there's my second Scenabaugh band. Now you can repeat this process as many times as you like. So I'm going to come again from this direction. In fact, what I might do is change it up a little and come from here, drawing a line along, lifting my pen, and then taking the line to this side here. I'm going to add my line weight either end, and then aura. So you can see here, you can just make your lines go and travel wherever you want within the space that you have available to you. So adding my aura and my line weighting. And actually I might make this one a little finer than the others. So the other ones had 4 lines and this one's going to have 3. I would say you want, you know, I suppose at least 3, although you could do it with 2 kind of auras and it would give this a good effect. It'd make them finer, but you can make them as wide as you like. And then I'm going to bring one more up here across this sort of diagonal, I suppose. So lifting my pen, pretending to draw behind, and then just continuing that line where I think it would come out the other side. Placing my line weighting. And obviously your line weighting at the end can kind of come as far up your lines as you like. I'm going to aura that line. Have a think about where it would come out the other end. And then adding the weight. And I shall do one more on this one. But I want to then just show you something else that you can do if you want to take it a little step further. Like so. What you can also do with this is then go back to previous ones that you have drawn, so perhaps this first one, and then just add some more auras into those, but then obviously they're going to tuck behind what you've then been placing in the intervening time. So it's going to start kind of creating this woven effect where things are going to start kind of layering, and it just offers some more interesting opportunities maybe for shading, or it's just kind of giving you a bit more depth and dimension to your tangling. So adding the weight, dropping the auras on the line weighting, and then just kind of repeating. This is that meditative kind of sense of just repeating these different line strokes. So I think I'm going to go through and see how I go, but maybe add auras to all of these in the order that I drew them in, so they're all interweaving. Just working out where they would sit. And then going through with my additional pot spots of ink. And this one was next, so I'll draw an aura along here. And this one maybe is going to bump into here, so I can attach my line weighting to this line instead. And you can really just fill almost the entire tile with this. Or, you know, maybe have it as more of a complementary tangle to something else that you're drawing. But as ever, it's the concept of auras and layering and drawing behind that's kind of what makes this tangle, I think. I'm going to pop one more here before I start to shade. Aura-ing, and then just dropping that ink in there. like so. Obviously, if you wanted to, you could go ahead and then fill these other spaces with other things, but I'm going to just leave it at this for now. In fact, do you know what? I'm going to do one more because it's just asking me to pop one final Scenabaugh in here. That space was just asking me to have something popped in there. So I'll just do a quick few little lines. Adding my auras, drawing behind. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to pick up my pencil and I'll show you how I'd go about shading this. So you can just go around the edges and add a nice chunk of graphite to this edge where the lines are at their sort of thickest, I suppose, where they attach on. Is a nice first step. And then, of course, anywhere that things fall behind other things is a good place to shade when you're working with a Hollibaugh inspired tangle. So I'm going to pop some along here and here, here and here, and just have a think about wherever anything disappears behind something else or weaves in and out. There's lots of opportunities here to just pop some little sections of shade and create this amazing depth and contrast. So I've got my tortillon here and I'm just going to blend my graphite in. So I'm softening this graphite around the edge. Just to take away any harsh lines. My initial strokes there with the graphite, just blending those in to soften any harsh lines and edges of the graphite. And then I'm going to just go through and soften all these spots where I've added graphite to kind of really emphasize the over and under that we get from this tangle. Like so. So yeah, one you can really play with, but it's a really lovely kind of combination of two classic tangles there. So that was Scenabaugh. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram at ivies_corner_arts and check out my website where I've got lots of free materials. But thank you so much for following along and I'll see you soon.